Good morning. I hope that you guys can see my face and hear my voice. I am sitting at the doctor's office, so I figured I would give y'all a little background of my IVF process while I wait. So I started this process back in June of 2021. I went into it blinded, like I didn't know what to expect because I already have children, so I didn't know how bad it was or is. I mean, it's not bad, it's just bad for a person like me that was expecting it to be fast. And it's probably fast for other people. I listened to a few podcasts and it seemed faster for them. I feel like they didn't face as much as I had to face. But of course, everybody's situation is different because it's all about your medical background. So to give you guys a little bit of my medical background, I didn't have any fertility issues until I got my tubes tied. So my tubes are tied, but I can still carry a child because I do still have a uterus. I didn't remove all of my female parts. I just got my tubes tied, or so I thought. So I signed up for my consultation, and after my initial consultation, I found out that the doctor did not tie my tubes. He cut out one of my tubes and tied the other. So I also found out getting my tubes untied could very well be pointless. I'm not saying that pregnancy wouldn't happen if I got my tubes untied. Just chances would be, I guess, lower. So we just went straight forward into the in vitro fertilization thing, because at the end of the day, we want a baby. So, and I don't do surgeries. Nonetheless, so that finding that out hurt me so bad. Like I cried. There was a point in time I couldn't even say that without my voice cracking or shaking, because I've always said I wanted 8 kids. Didn't know how I was going to pay for those 8 kids, but I've always said I wanted 8 children. And when I got my tubes tied, I got like really depressed. Nobody knew, but it wasn't something that I wanted to do. But back then I was a people pleaser, and I thought it was what my mom wanted, and it was what my husband at the time wanted. And I'm not blaming them, because ultimately I should have just stood up for myself and said, no, this is not what I want. But I didn't. So here I am, and you know, this process is helping me work through that, because for the longest I was mad at myself. Like, how could you not stand up for yourself? How can you just allow somebody to take something so precious from you? To be able to get pregnant and carry a child is such a blessing. And I allowed that to be taken from me. And for the longest, I beat myself up over it. And that's another story for a different time. But that was just to give you a little into my life and what I've been dealing with. So I found that out, and then when you do initial consultation, there's of course all this blood work you have to do. I found out that my vitamin D was too low, my estrogen was too high, and my iron was extremely low, which I already knew that, but I didn't think that it was going to be a problem, because again, I've carried 5 beautiful children, and my iron was low with them. And it didn't kill them. It certainly didn't kill me, because here I am. So I just figured that it wouldn't be an issue. Lo and behold, it was the biggest issue. So my fertility doctor had me go see a hematologist. I had to get permission from my primary care physician, and I had to get permission from, it's not labor and delivery. I don't know what the doctors are called up at the hospital, but I'll get that information. Yeah, I had to get permission from them. So I had to get all these permissions, okay? So I'm on a mission. So I started with my primary doctor because he knows my iron deficiency better than anybody. So he sends me to start my infusions. I had been avoiding him because of the infusion issue, but he sent me to start my infusions. And from my infusions, my iron was a 6. They went up to an 8. So even with doing the infusions, I still had to see the hematologist. I go see the hematologist. My iron is at an 8, and they still don't like that. Now, the hematologist says to me, I don't understand why you need to see me. Obviously, you've carried children and you have been fine. So I'm telling you, it's okay. I don't see why it's a problem. But at the same time, she goes to my fertility doctor and she was just like, she basically said it was okay, but then she gave a recommendation. The recommendation was for me to see a gastrologist, and the type of fertility doctor I have, she wants to dot all her I's and cross all her T's. So I had to go see a gastrologist before I could move on to the next step. But I'm a backup. So because it's COVID, seeing doctors is not easy. If it's not an emergency, they're going to schedule you far out. So I had to shop around for all of these doctors except for my primary doctor. So my primary doctor was still not happy with the 8, so I had to do another round of the infusions. So after that, we get it to a 10. And getting it at a 10, my primary doctor gave me the okay. We in there, all right? So in the midst of my primary doctor giving me the okay, I then had to do a visit with the doctors at the hospital. And they just basically said to me, oh, you can die because your iron levels are so low. You would have to have a C-section, which I did not want to have. And she was just like, as long as you're okay and understand the fact that you are putting yourself at a greater risk than before, that I don't see what the problem is. We will take care of you. And that was all I needed to hear. So that was yes number 2. So we go back to the hematologist, and I told you the hematologist basically told me yes, but then told my doctor no. So I had to see a gastrologist and the hematologist, right? So I go see the gastrologist, and he's like, yeah, you can do it. I don't see, same thing hematologist said. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to do it. I can tell you that, but I'm not going to tell your fertility doctor that. So I'm like, why? Like, try not to go off or whatever. I'm like, why? And he's just like, because you have to do my workup. Now, his workup involved not going under because they're not cutting me, but I had to be under anesthesia. If you know me, I don't like doctors, and I don't do anesthesia. Like, I don't go under because I'm afraid I'm not going to come back up, okay? So I cried and cried and cried, and I prayed and I cried and prayed and cried some more. And I ended up doing it, and it was not as bad as I thought. So I think it's called a laparoscopy. I'll get all this to you guys later. Nonetheless, they had to go in my hiney and look at my intestines and go in my esophagus and look at my stomach. The news we found out about that procedure was not good, and it wasn't bad. In the end, we did end up getting to the bottom of my anemia. Basically, I was not absorbing iron through food. From the foods that I would eat, I was not absorbing it. My stomach had I'm sorry, my mind just went blank. My stomach was inflamed, and yes, they said that I had some bacterial infection in my stomach, and I don't know the name of it right now. I gotta sign in for my appointment. So I had a bacterial infection in my stomach. So I had to take like antibiotics for that. Those antibiotics made me so sick. So once I got that taken care of, I had to go back to my hematologist and my fertility doctor. And they did my workup all over again. Everything came back good. My hematologist gave me permission to go forward. So I had permission from the hematologist, the gastrologist, my primary doctor, and the people at the hospital. Everybody gave me permission. They said, Nicole, you are good to go. So here we are. After that long road, we are finally here again. And I say again because I started this part of the egg retrieval where we have to do all this medicine, which I'm not on a lot of medicine. I've watched so many videos of women on like this shot and that shot. Nope. I am only on Gonal F, 250, I think it's units of that, and 100, I want to say milligrams, but that could be wrong. Clomid. I'm on Clomid. From the podcast that I listened to, the people were saying that, and again, we are all different. That is their body. My body, I'm not in no pain. Last night was night 10. I'm not in no pain. I do feel a little bloated. I do feel like if I move too much, my ovaries are gonna fall off. But other than that, I'm not in no pain. I feel heavy, but that's it. The shots I was afraid of, but my husband gives them to me. I can do it myself, but you know, to make him feel a part, because they do tend to feel left out. But to make him feel a part, I let him do it. And what else? I guess because of COVID, I don't really get the full experience of sitting in the office. As you can see, I'm sitting in my car. I don't get the full experience of sitting in the office, seeing other women going through the same thing that I'm going through. Yesterday was big for me because I did get to experience that, and it kind of took me out of my comfort zone. We were just sitting in the waiting room after getting my blood work. I was sitting in the waiting room, and she went in her phone, and it was the Holy Spirit activate video. And you know me, I was like, yes, Holy Spirit, please activate. But that was kind of funny. We all laughed. But through this whole experience, I have learned so much, and I'll tell you guys about that another day. I have to sign in for my appointment. Today I'm up in the Christiana office. I'm usually at the Dover office. I'm at the Christian office today. It's Sunday. So I hope that this was not like too confusing. If you have any questions, like, don't be afraid to ask. Hopefully I can do another video later today with my husband, and maybe he can give y'all a little insight on how he feels being my little sidekick in this whole thing. Maybe that wasn't nice. I mean, he is my sidekick. In this whole experience that you never think you're gonna have to go through, but here we are, and it's not that bad. It's not that bad. There's the financial side of it. That's bad, but other than that, you know, here we are. I kind of feel like I kind of robbed everybody because I did want to keep it a secret. But this is not a journey to go through by yourself, because it will weigh on you emotionally. I didn't want my husband to carry that burden all by himself, because I'm very family oriented. So to keep my family out of it, which I really wanted to do, because you don't need the, oh, when are we gonna have a baby, or when are you getting closer? Sometimes those questions are just so hard to answer because this is a blind situation. But I have to sign in, guys. So I'll talk to you later. I hope this was good, I guess. I didn't want no boring YouTube channel. I didn't want my videos to be boring. But I do want them to be inspirational. So, yeah. So this is, what, night 9? And it burns. My husband enjoys poking me. Oh, Andrew.